cannot stop missile flying. So now we have missiles flying into Israel from the south, which is from Gaza, and now we have missiles flying into Israel from the north. So how can you stop that? Well, Randy, maybe you have the answer.
No, I'm afraid that's one I don't have the answer to.
Cooperation between you guys as a emergency management and City of Wichita, the county, the state, the FBI. Do you guys have a command office? God forbid if something happens.
Yes, we have an emergency operations center facility. In that facility, we provide a place where the managers of the emergency services can manage their overall response to whatever the disaster incident is. We're happy to facilitate that. The process behind that indeed does involve cooperation, and it's very important because each member of the team that's responding to a disaster has a role, and we all have to fulfill those roles very well in order for the disaster response to be good. When we don't fulfill those roles, the disaster response is not good, and we've seen plenty of examples of that, unfortunately.
Right. Well, I hope really nothing happens. That's the main thing. Good evening. Hello.
Yes, I'm Phil.
Yes, Phil.
And I'm a member of the Mid-Kansas Jewish Federation. I just wonder why nobody from the Jewish community of Wichita is on your forum.
I would love to have somebody at any time. You and anybody else is welcome to be on my show. I could invite anybody first week of September.
Okay.
Would you please have somebody call me or contact me?
Yes, I will.
I would love to have anybody, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Greg.
That's me again.
Yes, sir.
How are you guys doing? Well, Mr. Duncan, part of our preparedness is to ship all the Muslims back where they come from, see, including the doctor there, since he seems to enjoy the freedoms of the United States, but he don't really like the United States.
No. Okay.
And, you're right, the news, is a lot of bias and everything, but, in a wall ain't gonna stop lunatic Islam from killing themselves and killing Jews and killing Americans. The only thing that's gonna stop all this is the Lord of Lords, Jesus Christ, and he's gonna come down in Jerusalem, and the whole world's gonna come against Jerusalem, and he's gonna put them in their place, and the whole world's gonna sit around Jerusalem. So Jerusalem, everyone's gonna get Jerusalem. They're just not gonna get it how they want it, and all this stuff is never gonna end, because until the Lord comes back, because the Muslims just want to kill Jews. They love killing Jews. They love killing Americans, and like he talked about earlier, Nabil, about, a disaster might happen. Well, yeah, and when it does, it's probably going to be at the hands of radical Islam. And when that happens, I'll be one of the ones putting a bullet in them.
I'm sorry, is there a question in there somewhere?
Is that a question?
The question is, Nabil, he knows, Dr. Nabil, he knows who I am. And I can't wait till that Mid-Kansas Jewish Federation guy to come on your show, because maybe you guys can choke each other or something.
Hey, Greg, let me just share one information here. First of all, I am an Arab Muslim American, okay? Second thing, this is a democracy in this country, and I will stand before King Hussein, before any Saudi king, before any Arab king, and say the same thing. I am personally against those dictators. Now, I am personally against, because my religion, that the Islamic religion, teach me that if you kill one person as if you killed all humanity, if you save a life of one person as if like you saved the life of all people. That is the true Islam that I and others teach and preach. Now, I am against killing any Jew. I am against killing of any civilian, okay? I am for democracy. Now, McVeigh was not an Arab and he was not Muslim. Hitler was not an Arab and he was not Muslim. Okay, why? Okay, in Wichita, Kansas, I said last year or the year before, in 2004, in Wichita we had 32 homicides. None of the killers, nor the ones who were killed, were Muslims. Why we did not label those as Jehovah's Witness, as Baptists, as Catholics, as as this and that? Why?
Oh.
Why?
Because none of them, and Jehovah's Witness, and a lot of them are cults, but the difference is, with the exception of the Crusades and stuff, the difference is Christians, or people who call themselves Christians, don't go around killing other Christians. I mean, if the Christians did what the Muslims do, just between two sects, Sunnis and Shiites,
right.
Well, hell, there's 100 sects of Christians.
Greg.
They did the same thing.
Greg.
You wouldn't be knowing that.
Okay.
See, that's the reason in your country, okay, that you call this your country, okay?
Listen,
really,
Greg,
I don't call this your country. Your country is over there. You call Palestine, I'll call it Israel. Well, okay, the way you believe over here, your people in the American countries most of them don't believe the same way you believe here, and that's why you're here instead of there. Because if you was over there with your brothers, and you talk the way you do over here, so some of them, they would probably saw your head off.
Okay, the Crusaders were not Muslims, sir. Okay, David Koresh out of Waco, Texas, was not a Muslim, sir. Okay, and by the way, let me. I just wanna share with you Islam 101 here. Okay, we have 5% of Muslims who are extremists. Yes, we have 5% of Muslims, but 90% of Muslims are people like me. Okay, it's the same thing we have in America. It's the same thing we have anywhere on this earth. I mean, look, what's going on in Europe between the Protestants and the Catholics and so forth. You always will have 5% here, 5% there. But you know what's going on in America? The media in America is 100% against Arabs and Muslims. Why? Because they always want to magnify evil. Now they always want to magnify that Islam is Bin Laden, Islam is al-Zawahiri, Islam is what's going on in Iraq, Islam is beheading people. This is 5%. So it's not fair to prosecute or chop the heads of 95% of Muslims because of the act of few. Thank you. Hazardous in Sedgwick County. I know we have a lot of hazards. Some of those are, terrorist attacks. But what are some of the hazards we have in the county so people will be aware of as well?
Sure. Basically, we divide hazards into three major categories. We talk about natural hazards, we talk about technological or man-made hazards, and then, of course, homeland security-related hazards. Under natural hazards, the top 5 inside Sedgwick County are really pretty simple and straightforward. Flooding is the single most frequent natural hazard, not only in Sedgwick County, but in fact in the entire state of Kansas.
We have a lot of floods then?
Yes, it's the single most frequent disaster that happens, even on a global basis. Number 2 for us is tornadoes, and that's pretty obvious. Yeah, that's pretty obvious, and especially in the springtime here in Kansas. April, May, and June are our peak months for severe weather and tornadoes. And of course, that leads me into hazard number 3, which is severe storms, both summer and winter. You may recall January of 2005, we had a little ice storm. That was a very severe storm. Lots of the area was without power, and we had to open up shelters for folks. We get very severe thunderstorms in the springtime. Matter of fact, the single most costly disaster that's ever happened here in Sedgwick County was a hailstorm, and that happened, if memory serves me correctly, in 1992, I think it was. We had an absolutely huge hailstorm that struck in the morning and again in the afternoon of the same day. The number 4 hazard in Sedgwick County is drought. As a matter of fact, I just saw today where the governor is asking her drought response team to convene to discuss the situation and see what type of response might be appropriate to help us through this drought period. And number 5 is probably one that many of you won't expect, which is earthquakes. We actually experience fairly frequently what's called micro tremors in this area. They're 3.0 or less on the Richter scale. Typically, you can't feel them on a day-to-day basis like you can the larger earthquakes. And one of the sources of those microquakes is a geological feature that most of us know as the Flint Hills. The technical name for that is the Nemaha Anticline. And then, of course, the major earthquake fault that's closest to us is the New Madrid Fault, which runs along the Mississippi River roughly from St. Louis to Memphis. And that's a very major earthquake fault, the equal of anything in California.
I want to talk to you in a few minutes about Homeland Security, because I'm sure a lot of callers would be interested. I believe Terry?
Yes,
Yes, sir.